I hope you guys had a great time with that scavenger hunt. It's a great way to get to know the platform. Know that that demo site is there for your use at any time. So feel free to go back, show your parents and guardians, and get a little bit more familiar because we're going to be using the entire year. I just wanted to kind of wrap up our orientation talking about two different things. One is the one we get the most questions about, so I want to make sure that we talk about it here, and there will be a slide left on this presentation that you can always revisit. And also know you can always ask your teachers. We don't mind you asking us questions. So really, if you're thinking about it, then another parent or student is also thinking about it. So let's go ahead and dig in. Grades are significantly different in Summit. That's probably the biggest change that people, as we start to transition to Summit Learning, they experience some difficulty with understanding how different it is. First, let's talk about how grades aren't stored in Infinite Campus. So because grades are ongoing and they can change, because with projects you can resubmit your work, meaning if you get a grade and you see it and you have feedback from your teacher, then you can go back and resubmit it so that you can get a better score. Now, I do want to remind you that that doesn't mean you turn it in, your teacher gives you feedback, and then you just turn it in again, and you turn it in again, and you turn it in again. It means that you actually have to put forth some significant work towards revising your original piece. So know that everything that you're doing, that feedback is essential in order for you to do better. So that progress happens through attending workshops, like learning how to develop certain skills, and it also happens through looking at the feedback and internalizing it. So our grades aren't on Infinite Campus because they're evolving. If we're constantly having to go back and forth, you are able to see on Summit how many times you or your student has turned something in and how many times the teacher has sent it back. And you're able to see what the feedback is in the score. We're going to have a different segment on rubric scoring later. I feel like for today, let's focus on just the how-to and the basic changes. Additionally, with those content assessments, you can retake them as well. So if you didn't get an 80, 90, or 100% and you don't have green on that content assessment, well, then you can retake them, and you have to retake them in order to pass the school year, especially for those power focus areas. Your parents, although they don't have a username and login just yet, can look on your side and see the exact same thing. When they do get their parent login, it is the exact same thing that you see on your progress tab. So just keep in mind that there's a lot of transparency in this grading process. I'd like to explain also how grades are factored in with percentages. Now, I'm not Mr. Huff or Ms. Cottle, so I'm not awesome at math, but I can count to 100. So here's what makes up your grade. Go ahead and check it out. Right here we have project and math units make up 70% of your grade. So right here, project and math units make up 70% of your grade. So that's your day-to-day checkpoints, your final products. It's those day-to-day activities that we're doing in our classes. So it's vital that you join us for online class so that you can hear the way that we're explaining things in real time, meaning at the moment. So please make sure that you're trying your best to make sure that you're with us on a daily basis because A, we want to see your faces, and B, it makes the process a lot less difficult if we're here together. The second part is the power focus areas. So remember, that's the second line on your year view. Those content assessments that you have to pass for the school year make up 21% of your grade. So you've got to make sure you do those. And then lastly, your additional focus areas, that third line, make up 9% of your grade. So therefore, if you don't do any additionals, you're going to be missing 9% of your grade. If you want an A, you have to go the extra mile and do the additional work. Lastly, just because you do your projects, math units, power focus areas, and additional focus areas does not mean that you are going to get an A. That means in order to even be eligible for an A, you have to do the extra work. So again, you have to make sure that your projects and your grades that you're getting on a daily basis are also aligning to that effort, okay? Reminder also, I should have added it to a box on here, but when you have a lower grade, a lower percentage than 80%, your grade is going to be considered off track. So please make sure that you're working so that you can be on track and stay ahead of the blue line. So we'll continue to have these conversations around grading, but these are the essentials. Now the biggest part. You will not see a letter grade, so A, B, C, or D, until we finish our first project. So in my 8th grade science class, our project's called Let's Talk Genetics. It happens over the course of several weeks. We are doing things constantly that are going to contribute and add to that grade, including working on your first power focus area or content assessment. But you will not see a grade formulate because it takes all those percentages until we finish that first project and you get that grade on the final product. So please, please, please make sure that you're not confused by that process. In the meantime, that doesn't mean that your students aren't getting grades or aren't getting feedback. It just means that the mathematical part doesn't happen until about early October. You will see students getting that red, yellow, green. So red meaning that they have some work to do in order to be on grade level for that cognitive skill. And those are skills that we need to master so that we can be successful with our future careers and college aspirations. And just knowing that that process of red, yellow, and green and looking at teacher feedback is totally a part of that final product grade. So let's make sure that we're working forward and we're making it the best year that we can. I know that this is so much information and that you've heard this terrible voice for far too long today. But what I can promise you is that you're going to have a great school year. Your teachers are going to go the extra mile, and we're going to go above and beyond just to make sure that we are giving you the supports and challenges that you need and when you need them. Please feel free to reach out to us. Remember to ask questions in the chat feature and to ask your grade level teachers. I do want to add one more thing, which is let's please make sure that we're all flexible. This is a very different learning environment than what we're all used to, but I promise with clear and effective communication that it can be the best year yet. So thank you guys so much.